Right now, there's a massive corporate war being fought, and you know what? It's pretty much going to decide the entire future of entertainment. So let's just dive right into this, because this isn't just some boring business story. I mean, this is about everything you're going to be watching for like the next decade.
So you've got these two titans, right? On one side, there's the old guard, the century-old giant Warner Brothers. And on the other, well, it's the digital disruptor that completely changed how we all watch everything, Netflix. And right now, they are locked in this epic battle that is, no joke, shaking Hollywood to its very core.
And the prize here? Oh, it's huge. We're talking about control over the stories we all love. You know, the characters we literally grew up with, and the very way we experience movies and TV. So yeah, make no mistake, this whole fight, it affects you directly.
All right, so let's get into it. It all started with this one announcement, an announcement that basically sent shockwaves through the entire industry and kicked this whole thing off.
Yeah, that is the number. A staggering $82.7 billion. That's what Netflix put on the table in a deal to acquire Warner Brothers film and TV studios, plus HBO. I mean, when you factor in the debt, that's the total. This is an absolutely colossal, game-changing move. So, you gotta ask, what is Netflix really buying here for all that money? It's so much more than just a studio. We're talking about a century of culture. I mean, this deal would give them the keys to the kingdom, some of the most valuable IP in history. Everything from Batman and the entire DC universe to Harry Potter. Just think about it for a sec. A brand new Matrix series, but it's a Netflix original? Yeah, it's a wild thought.
Okay, to really get a handle on this conflict, you have to understand the two main players. It's kind of like a classic tale, right? The new king versus the old guard. The modern disruptor trying to completely swallow the legacy powerhouse.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It really puts things in perspective. Warner Brothers had been a Hollywood giant for 74 years before Netflix was even a thing. And back then, it was just a little DVD by mail service. So to see Netflix now in a position to actually buy them, it's just a stunning example of how fast technology has completely reshaped our world.
And you know, this quote, it really says it all. This was from a Netflix exec way back in 2013. He said the goal was to become HBO faster than HBO could become them. Think about that. More than a decade ago, they laid it all out. Their ambition wasn't just to compete with HBO, it was to be HBO. This was never just a business plan, it was a total declaration of war on the old guard.
So, how did the old guard respond back then? Well, with this. Complete and total dismissal. The CEO of Warner's parent company basically laughed them off, comparing them to the Albanian army taking over the world. I mean, wow, this quote is aged like milk, and it perfectly captures just how dramatically the power has shifted.
All right, so just when it seemed like Netflix had this thing in the bag, the story takes a massive, dramatic turn. A new challenger suddenly jumps into the ring, and let's just say they weren't asking nicely.
And that brings us to this key idea, a hostile takeover. Basically, out of absolutely nowhere, rival studio Paramount launched one. Now, what does that mean? It means they decided to completely ignore the Warner Brothers board, just bypass them entirely, and take their offer directly to the shareholders, the people who actually own the stock.
And Paramount, they were not playing around. Their offer was way different. First off, they came in with a much higher price tag. We're talking over $108 billion. And here's the kicker, it was all cash, which shareholders tend to love. Plus, it wasn't just for the studio and HBO, it was for the entire company, including stuff like CNN.
But the Warner Brothers board, they were not impressed. In fact, they put out this scathing 94-page report where they officially rejected Paramount's offer. I mean, they absolutely roasted them. They called their approach aggressive and disorganized, said they missed deadlines, and that their financing was shaky. Yeah, they left zero doubt about how they felt.
So, okay, with the board basically telling Paramount to get lost, the Netflix deal is looking pretty likely. But this is where the story gets, well, a lot more complicated. Because winning this incredible prize could end up coming at a really high cost for, everyone else.
Naturally, you have the official line from Netflix. Their press release is just full of all this optimistic corporate speak, promising more choice and greater value for you, the consumer. And hey, it all sounds great on paper, right?
But let's zoom in on that one phrase, generate shareholder value. It's a buzzword we hear all the time from big companies, but what does it actually mean in the real world? Like, what has it meant for you and your Netflix subscription lately?
Well, we don't really have to guess, do we? The recent past gives us a pretty clear picture. In the name of shareholder value, we've seen subscription prices hike up, ads pop up on a new tier, and of course, the big crackdown on password sharing. And those savings they talk about from a merger? That's almost always corporate speak for thousands of people losing their jobs. At the end of the day, shareholder value usually comes right out of your pocket. And the worries here go way beyond just price hikes. There's this deep, deep fear inside Hollywood, and this quote from some movie producers really captures it. Their whole argument is that Netflix's business model is designed to do one thing: keep you on your couch. So if one single company controls both making the movies and the main way we watch them, what's their incentive to support movie theaters? It could just disappear.
The folks who actually create the shows and movies are sounding the alarm too. The Writers Guild of America is basically saying this deal is a textbook case for what antitrust laws were designed to prevent. And look, this isn't a new idea. We've seen it in other industries. When you have less competition, it almost always means fewer opportunities and lower pay for the creative people who actually make the stuff we love to watch.
And listen, this isn't just coming from unions or creatives. This is coming from the former CEO of Warner Media itself, Jason Killer. I mean, when a former top boss at one of the companies involved says he can't think of a better way to reduce competition in Hollywood, you know the concerns are legit.
So, what happens next? Where does all this leave us? Well, the battle is definitely still raging. Shareholders still have to vote, and you can bet government regulators are watching this whole thing like hawks. But even now, we can start to see what the future might look like.
And at the end of the day, this is the dilemma for us, the viewers. It really boils down to this trade-off. On the one hand, yeah, it could be super convenient, more content, more of those amazing HBO-style shows all in one app, one less service to juggle. But the downside, well, it probably means higher prices, more ads, and just a world with one less major player out there competing for your business.
And this brings the whole story full circle. Remember that old Albanian army comment from back in 2010? Well, when Netflix's CEO Ted Sarandos was asked about it recently, this was his reply. Just a short, sharp, triumphant comeback. It's such a powerful symbol of how completely Netflix has conquered the very industry that once just laughed at them. Which leaves us with one last and I think really critical question. As these big tech companies start swallowing up classic Hollywood, who really holds the remote control anymore? Is it still you, the viewer, making choices in a market with lots of options? Or is the future of everything we watch now in the hands of just a few powerful companies, all answering to that one single master: shareholder value?